Okay, it says I'm live. I'm going to presume and proceed as if I'm live. There's no feedback on this, so no clue. I might be talking to myself for about 35 minutes. Okay, so welcome to my morning commute on the NAVI. It is Thursday today, 6th, 7th. I don't even know what date it is. It's about 63, 64 degrees in Katy this morning, and it's foggy, humid. I'm going to take my little NAVI for a work ride down to my breakfast spot and then to my warehouse. I posted another video last night about the cold running idle issues on this guy. That was in freezing weather, but it's still doing the stumbling, stalling bit. Less than ideal, but I don't want everybody to think that that's a showstopper, at least not for me, not for this bike, because it's just carburetor tuning, and I'm sure it's probably a unique issue with my NAVI. I haven't heard anybody else complaining about their NAVI doesn't stay running. So it's probably just my carburetor. Just get in there and we'll tweak it a little bit and move on with life. I've already ordered the rear rack and the windshield from my local Honda dealer. Those should be showing up any time now, and probably maybe end of the week, early part of next week. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. Fuel is on. It's cold. Choke it. Start, run, on, ready to rock. I'm not going to bother with the Kickstarter today because I need to get rolling. I've got another couple of ride videos that I'm trying to edit and get out of the queue on the NAVI. It's superb fun to ride. So again, don't let the little idle goobers here set you off. The lighting issue I do think is a problem. At least it's a definite problem for me. I ran out of gas in this thing yesterday, just tootling around the outside of the neighborhood here, and I couldn't get it switched over to reserve quick enough, and the motor died, and I couldn't restart it while rolling, so that meant no headlight, no tail light while I was rolling. Luckily it wasn't dark, so gonna have to be quick on that flip over, because a CVT doesn't keep the engine engaged necessarily if that rear clutch speed slows down enough that it disengages. So again, this is a live stream, ladies and gentlemen. I have no idea if I'm really live. I might be just talking to myself, and I won't be able to see your comments because I don't have any way to moderate the app. I just see if I'm live, and I see if it's got a stream. And be prepared, if you are watching and you're interested in anything that's going on, just leave comments below. I'll try to get to you when I get to the other end, but feel free to chat amongst yourselves, and then the chat will be live in the replay later, hopefully, if the stream goes well. And then I will reply to comments on the live video itself, not in the live, but after. So leave further comments on the video, and I can reply to those. And then when I get to my breakfast place, I'll probably shut the stream down, if it even lasts that long, and I'll jump on my Discord server. So check my YouTube About page for all of my social media links, and get me on Instagram or Discord. Pretty much live. If I'm not in the middle of something, I'll be able to reply back to you. I try to get on my... Oops. Yep, see, there's the stream health dropping down, so I don't know if you guys are going to stay alive or not. Oop, it's moving. It's going. I get to see a bar. That's it. It's healthy. It's not healthy. It's dying. It's on life support. Deet, 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 deet. I really like this little bike. It's fun. It's got a Grom kind of a feel to it. The foot peg position is more forward than a Grom. You're not quite as forward and on top of it. It's a little different. I like the seating, the foot position, seating position on it. It's really good. The somewhat forward pegs on it are interesting for a bike like this. So once I can get these air-fuel mixture issues sorted out, the carburetor, I have no doubt this is going to be a fantastic machine. I've owned countless dozens of carbureted bikes over the years, single-cylinder, twin-cylinder, four-cylinder, you name it. So this is somewhat normal fare for people that have owned carbureted bikes before. It's unusual in this day and age, one, to have a carbureted bike, two, to get a new bike that's already exhibiting these behaviors. Normally you don't get into this until you've had bad fuel in your carbs sitting for a while and your jets get gummed up and all that crap. So It's an annoyance at this point. It's not a showstopper. It's just, yeah, I'm trying not to curse, but yeah, okay. This is live, so I've got to neuter myself. No Quasi off the chain. You guys should hear some of the stuff I have to cut out of my vlogs. Jesus. Potty mouth. Foul mouth sailor. Hell, I'll make a sailor blush. Man, they'll take lessons from me, man. So you can tell when the weather is not quite so cold, I don't know if you can hear it, it's idling pretty well, reasonably smooth. But as I sit here for a little bit, even in these temperatures, you know, fully warmed up, it will hitch every now and then. You'll feel it and hear it go, and it drops out. So I'm wondering, beyond just air-fuel ratio, if it's maybe valves a little bit out of clearance, or possibly spark plug gap. Could be spark plug. I have seen crazier things. All the behavior kind of points toward air-fuel mixture being too rich, though. And you can smell it. It smells like it's running on choke all the time. Oh, and I was editing the video last night. I cut out a huge portion. A couple of people were mentioning you should take the pipe off of it and see if that helps it run better, because it'll have less back pressure, more airflow, which, you know, effectively reduces your fuel content per volume of air. Yes, I cut all that out because it was getting a little technical and the video was too long, but I took pictures of this can underneath it, kind of facing up toward the stenciled info on the back of it, and I'm going to cheat. The can doesn't say that it has a catalyst in it, so this might be a cat-free bike, which again is very interesting and unique in this day and age. I think even the Metropolitan and the whatchamajiggy Ruckus have catalysts. So if there are any Ruckus or Metropolitan owners out there, let me know if your bike has a catalyst in the factory muffler, if you are sure one way or another. The PCX 150, for example, does have a catalyst built into it. I put a new quote-unquote slip-on on my gray PCX 2016, and the cat is in the pipe for sure. It even says it right on the can. So that bike, when I put the Akrapovic exhaust on there, it sounds better, runs a little cleaner as far as power wise, but you can smell the fuel, unburned fuel in the exhaust, especially when it's first starting up. So another question or two that I saw, I tried to reply, I think I got them this morning. People asking for comparison videos between the Navi and the Super Cub, and there were questions a couple days ago about versus the Monkey and stuff like that. I can't speak to those. I haven't owned a Grom or a Monkey yet, but they're pretty much the same engine as the Super Cub and the Trail Cub. Just, you know, gearing, seating position, things like that are a little bit different. So yes, I will plan to do a back-to-back, maybe like a dual, D-U-E-L, dual, between the Navi and the Super Cub. But I've got to find somebody that's about my weight to make it an even test, as much, you know, apples to apples as possible. My son would probably help me out, no problem, but he doesn't like these little bikes all that much, and he's getting to be a big old boy. He outweighs me by about 30 pounds now, so there would be that performance difference that would kind of taint the results. So I don't know, I'll look around. There was another Navi owner here in the Katy area that sent me a note saying, hey, if you see another guy in Katy running around on a grasshopper green Navi, that's me. So he got his, I think, the same day I got mine, or the day after, something like that, I don't know. And that would be interesting. So I'm going to try to meet up with him maybe this weekend, because he said he's free on the weekend, so if it's not just piss and rain, which it forecast kind of looks like it's going to be, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I'd like to meet up with him. That'd be cool to start the new Houston Navi squad. And I'm not running this thing full open right now. I'm just, you know, comfortable 50% throttle, and it's pulling right along at 40 with no trouble at all. Now, fuel economy, we're going to see how that plays out. I'm not disappointed. Don't take my next comments wrong. Don't start thumbing down and hating and boo-hooing me. Fuel economy kind of sucked for the first tank. I was like, damn, I got 55 miles out of it before it choked on, died out. So I was rolling along at 40 miles an hour, half throttle, you know, whatever, and it just went and died. There was no sputter, there was no warning that it was about to croak, and I'm used to that from other carbureted bikes. It's normally not a big deal. You just reach down and you flip from on to reserve. However, those are chain-driven bikes, and you've got a direct coupling between the rear wheel and the transmission, in turn the piston, to keep everything running. So the momentum of the bike and everything being linked up in lockstep keeps it running. In worst case, you can pull your clutch in on most bikes and restart the motor, whatever you got to do, so, or coast down further without any parasitic drag. Anyway, a CVT doesn't work that way. If the engine's not spinning, the clutch in the CVT back in the final drive can decouple or let go from the drive bell on that clutch, and when that happens, you don't have any motivation or momentum or motility or whatever word you want to come up with. So the problem I had is I couldn't get the lever flipped over quick enough, and it sucked the carburetor totally dry and gave up. I mean, gave up. I couldn't get it started. I was pissed. So I was still rolling, you know, 40 miles an hour or whatever, and luckily I was just passing a little turn in like this, and I rolled into my neighborhood and went in about a half a block and stopped. And as I was coasting down, I had it on the reserve, and I'm trying to hit the starter. Of course, that doesn't work, so you got to pull in the front brake slightly. Okay, are we back? That's the problem with streaming through the GoPro app on the phone. I've got a hotspot down here, but it just randomly loses Wi-Fi connection, so I do apologize. Where was I? So I was rolling along while I was coasting down, and I was holding the front brake, not at a stop yet, trying to crank it, and I don't know, maybe it was just road noise, but I couldn't even hear the bike cranking. It was odd. And I came to a complete stop, and I had to crank it for probably 5 solid seconds, and 5 seconds is a long time if you're sitting in traffic with cars barreling up your ass, honking at you because you're in the way. Of course, I was on the neighborhood street, so it wasn't a problem. But anyway, it took 5 seconds to get it started again, get the carburetor reprimed, and then, you know, I took it home and grabbed my phone to take pictures of the refuel and do all that nonsense. But I'm going. It might be tricky if you're riding in fast traffic, trying to get this thing reprimed, you know. Got to do it quick to not get a flame out. I need to put my cruise control on here. I haven't put one on yet. It's still in break-in, so I'm trying not to just ring it open and leave it there. But right now I need to put my glove back on. It's shoved in my jacket, and I can't let go of the throttle. Yeah. So I'm not wringing its tits off. I'm just trying to be nice to it for a little bit anyway. And this guy's gonna turn right eventually, maybe when he gets to Louisiana. Fun little bike. I like it. As the engine loosens up, CVT belt wears in, variator, pulleys, all that stuff, as everything wears in, it'll probably get a little bit higher top speed. Most scooters do as they loosen up. Most bikes do in general, but particularly scooters with the CVT arrangement. I got 53 on GPS out of it, and that was going with the wind, so it was cheating. But I've heard other people say that, you know, flat level ground, or if you got a little bit of a cheat, they've seen 55 out of it. Now that might be 55 indicated, 54 actual. I think the speedometer starts to read about 1 mile per hour high at 55. That's kind of what I'm guessing based on my telemetry that I was pulling out of my GoPros a few days ago. It was pretty much dead on, but there was about a half a mile per hour difference. So that's absolutely fantastic for a mechanical speedo. That's amazing. Usually you've got to get into digital speedos and better equipment to get that kind of accuracy. Of course, tire overall diameter, air pressure, and all that's going to affect those readings. And this is fed from the front wheel off of that cable, so old school, man. It's about as analog as you can get on this bike. Carburetor, no fuel injection, no electronics, no trip meter, no digital dash, no nothing. It's a zombie apocalypse bike, man. It'll run forever if the carburetor behaves itself. You can even kickstart it with a totally dead battery. That's cool. Doesn't need a battery to run, as far as I know. Some older Hondas, depending on how the CDI and stuff like that and it's set up, it should run without a battery, no problem. Older generator Pulsar Magneto bikes required power from the stator and the battery in order to fire your coil. So if you had a dead battery, you couldn't get them to run. Again, I'm just about, I don't know, maybe 60% throttle. It's rolling along at 45 pretty comfortably. I'm not going to vary my speed up and down like I typically do during break-in. Not in I-10, I-10 feeder. Well, thanks. I'll have somebody walk right over me and just keep on going. So this Commute is a whole lot easier than on my little C3, because this is look at these monkeys. This is absolute maximum velocity for the C3. It's 45, 47 if I'm lucky, downhill. But it's just a 50cc scooter, so can't knock it too much. I'm gonna get over so these fast boys can go on by. Yep, see, I knew he was doing that. I always watch people through their windows, through their mirrors. I watch their head, because they start getting twitchy and they'll be looking over their shoulder to make a sudden lane change, usually without signaling. And they're not looking for bikes, they're looking for cars. So this low stature device right here with two wheels on it is pretty much invisible. Play like you're invisible, and or assume you're invisible. Play it like a chess game. Oh, okay, you gonna go? Fine, you go. These are momentum machines. You don't want to stop or slow down if you can. Signal, change lanes, keep on rolling. Because if you start slowing down and somebody's barreling up your ass, again, you're small, they might not really be paying attention, and it'll nerf your little ass right off the road. Boink! If it were broken in and maybe I put some sliders in it, I'd take it up on the highway and do some on and offs. It saves a lot of time on these morning commutes. Yeah, I'm making sure I still have my glove in there. That would suck. I lost one of my gloves on the Cannonball, and it was the same glove, left glove. I was going up a real steep mountain pass somewhere. I don't even know where it was. West USA. It might have been Wyoming. I don't know. And we were going up a hill, and I had taken my glove off so I could fiddle around with my phone, because I had it mounted on this side, and the gloves I wear are not really touch screen enabled. And I shoved it under my left leg. Hello, be nice. I shoved it under my left leg, but then as we're going up the hill, I had to stab the shifter down. So I lifted my leg up and, you know, stomped the shifter, and, you know, we're going 40 miles an hour in the wind. As soon as I lifted my leg, glove went that way, and there's big semis all around us. Hell no, I'm not stopping. So I had to ride the rest of the trip with my held air and dry, and they're not really great hot weather gloves. It sucked. Note to self, don't put the glove under your leg. All right, Powerball's up to 20 mil, and the Mega is 278. How many Navis would that buy? Oh, I think we could probably empty out Honda's secret overstock of these bikes from India. I think that's where these came from. They might be produced and assembled in Mexico and all that, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that Honda just had a ton of these things laying around, and they were trying to figure out a market for them, and they didn't want to upgrade them to fuel injection, and they figured out a way to get them in U.S. emissions, and like, yeah, have some carbureted bikes. I guess I can put my glove on now. With the chip shortage and everything that's going on, plays right into their hand. That's awesome. I don't mind it, as long as it works. Get my idle issues sorted out, I'll be happy. What else? Somebody was sending me notes saying that in the Indian market there are EFI conversion kits for this thing. I don't know if it's aftermarket or from Honda as overstock, or, you know, retrofit from another bike, another scooter, something like that uses a similar engine. That's interesting, though. So if it's possible to switch these over to fuel injection, you're going to have a handful of support components, obviously. You're going to have the EFI head, your brain, ECU. You're going to have the throttle body. You're going to have an injector. You need an O2 sensor, most likely. And then you're also going to need crank position sensor, ignition pickup. There's going to be a handful of things to make fuel injection work. So I don't know if the engine is already set up for those things and it's just, you know, screwing in the sensors and attaching a new wiring sub-harness or what, but that'll be interesting. I think this is going to turn into a tuner bike for people to play with, a lot like the Ruckus and the Grom, but of course the Grom is fuel injected and it's a, you know, 4-speed, now 5-speed transmission, so it's a little more advanced of a tuner toy. Having a carbureted bike is not all bad, because it can make tuning a whole lot easier. You don't need a laptop, you don't need an auxiliary fuel controller, you don't need new injectors, none of that stuff. All you need is a box of jets that fit your carburetor, needle shims, needle clips, potentially a different needle, but, you know, main jet, pilot jet, and some bowl gaskets. That's it. You know, because you get in and out of it, you got to replace seals every now and then. Wouldn't be a bad idea to get a set of screws and stuff, you know, because if you're taking your carburetor apart, pulling the bowl off routinely, you can eventually start geeking up your screw heads. Not a big deal. I raced and wrenched for decades, and yeah, just do it. Just do it, man. As long as you have a baseline to return your carburetor to, whatever the factory specs are, you know, a certain number of turns in or out on your air fuel screw and your jet sizes, yeah, you can repeat the performance every single time. The mirrors on the Navi are quite good. I haven't had any complaints yet at all with these. If you're a really big person, wide guy or something like that, you'd probably be looking more at your elbows, but I don't know if you guys can see what I'm seeing. The eyeball camera angle is different, but these things are way out there. They're great. They hang out just far enough that I'm seeing the edge of my arms on both sides, and, you know, I could obviously push the mirrors out, but it's nothing like the Cub, the Super Cub, even the Trail Cub. You know, all you see is your shoulder with those. They're terrible. I had to go. The PCX has very good mirrors from the factory. Good stuff. I'm going to pull up at the breakfast place on this thing, and they're going to look at it and go, what the? Ryobi's making motorcycles now? I am going to get some Ryobi stickers. I'm going to have them vinyl printed up, either right here or right down the side or something. I need them to be visible while I'm sitting on the bike, so I don't want them covered by my legs completely. If custom tags here in Texas weren't so expensive every year, I would try to get a plate that says Ryobi, because it looks like a Ryobi power tool, a drill. Mess with people. Where did you get that? Does Home Depot sell those? Uh-huh. Yeah, go on over there. Ask them about it. Dick! I've had people ask me if this is a battery, if it's a battery-powered bike, electric bike. again, I don't want to be a dick, but I am a dick. The first thing I said was, see that right there? That's an exhaust. And the question returning that was, yeah, and? Ugh, dude, really? Do I need to get into the basic semantics of what an exhaust is? So, I didn't have time to set up multiple camera angles this morning. I was going to hang one off the tail of the bike, staring at the taillight, to see kind of how this thing looks in traffic at idle, if I'm pulling my foot off of the brake pedal or not covering the front brake, or the handbrake here. Anyway, the lights on this thing are pretty dim when you're sitting at idle, because this is an AC system for the running lights, headlight, all that. So it's used in alternating current instead of direct current, and it's only running off the generator. So if the generator is spinning slow, then you got dim lights. If I convert this over, which I will soon, I'll convert it to DC, which is just going to be a bypass with a relay, probably a latching relay, solid state, so no coil, no worries about field collapse surge. That's another discussion, but LEDs on this, obviously, but in order for LEDs to work properly, you need to be on a DC system, not AC, because you can destroy LEDs if you are still powering them with AC. Electricity flows only one direction through the diode, LED, light emitting diode. So forward voltage above 1.2 volts allows them to pass voltage and start putting off light in the form of photons. Reverse voltage is blocked by the diode itself, but when you start feeding them at higher power levels in reverse, especially with higher frequency oscillation like from an AC system, you'll destroy the diode in pretty short order. I'm getting out because it says right lane closed. See ya. The turn signals are DC. They come straight off the battery, as does the tail light. So it's just the brake light and the tail light, not brake light. The tail light and the headlight are the ones that are running on AC off the generator. I was going to get into that in, the other videos, but when you get into the deep technical discussions, most people just glaze over. They don't get it. They don't want to get it. They don't care. They just want to fix it and make it work. I totally understand. I totally understand. And I'm going to cheat and run the Navi on the highway. Why not? I hate the set of lights right here. They suck. I'm going to do an on and off and skip these two lights. Can he do it? Tuck, tuck, tuck. Somebody said I need to master the Grom tuck. Hell no, man. I'm going to go straight for the tie method, laying flat out on the seat, Superman style. Yeehaw! Got a Honda up my ass. I'm doing 53, dude. Come on, give me a break. Honda to Honda, be nice. I think it's a Honda. No, it's not. V-dub. That's why. Farfuk-Nugan. So, first really nasty wide open run I've done on it, just leaving it penned for a mile, 3/4 of a mile. So never quite got to 55 indicated here. Of course, that was a little bit of an uphill run. I'm coming out. Thank you. So I've been swamped with video editing and trying to work and make real money. I need to make my order list for the bulbs and all that. When I was on the live cast the other night, or live stream, Tim pulled his bulbs out, I think. He pulled his headlight off. I don't know if he pulled out the turn signal bulbs. We need to look at the base. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like a BAU, BA6, something like that. It's one of the bayonet style bases where it has 2 pins on it, and you just have to measure the diameter of the base and make sure that the pin offsets are correct for the little locking. You squeeze them in and turn them to where they lock. Anyway, I'll find the right bulbs and I'll post all of my shopping list that works out for me, along with a solid state flasher relay. I usually get my stuff through superbrightleds.com for the signals and the relays and stuff like that, but the headlight and tail light I may get elsewhere. Now the tail light I have gotten through Super Bright LEDs a few times, because they've got real good ones. They are super bright, living up to the name. The one that I'll probably get, just for simplicity sake, is an LED tail lamp, dual function, you know, so dual high-low, or, you know, running plus brake, and it's got a built-in flasher circuit in it. So every time you apply it, it flashes 3 times and then goes solid. So it goes blink, 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 solid. It's a great little attention getter, and you don't have to fan your brake to do what you want to do. Normally I do that anyway, but if I know that I'm on a bike that's got a brake modulator or brake flasher, then I don't bother fanning the pedal or the handle to alert traffic behind me. Several times cruising along, I have, as I'm decelerating, I'm reaching forward to shift it down like the Cub, because it feels kind of like the Cub, but it ain't the Cub. My office right there on the corner. Going to breakfast. See, I just did it again. I'm pushing my toe down trying to downshift. It's a very Cub-esque feel to it, because you're slowing down. On the Cub the same way, you know, there's no clutch. You just drop the throttle and then you raise it slightly right as you stab down on the toe to downshift. Rev matches a little bit. But the lever's missing on this one. What happened? You guys probably can't hear that, but it just did its dip, like it would have stumbled out and died if, you know, before I upped the idle on it. It went, came back up. So it's air fuel mixture, I think. We'll see if I prove myself wrong. Ready, set, go! See, it gets away from traffic pretty good. I'm doing 27 before I got to the other side of the intersection, so it's not bad. Squirts around in traffic okay. With an upgraded variator or like Dr. Pulley sliders in this, I'll bet it would get a little bit better mid-range, because it kind of bogs out in the mid-range when the pulley squinches up that belt and gives you the higher ratio. Sliders or a little stiffer clutch spring in the back will hold the mid-range longer, but of course that means you're running more RPM and burning more fuel. Trade-offs, man. It's always trade-offs. For example, when I put that NCY variator kit, the ultimate transmission kit, whatever they call it, in my gray PCX 150, the fuel economy on it pre-upgrade, when it still had the factory variator and everything in it, it was getting stupid good gas mileage, like 127, 130 around town. It was insane. And that dropped down considerably to, I want to say 110, 108 under the same conditions. So it dropped, you know, significantly, probably 15%. And then on the highway, it gets lower economy than my white one, which used to be the reversed situation. So it's just because the engine's running more RPM all the time. As you're accelerating up, it's not dropping down for fuel economy. So it's always a trade-off. A little bit better squirt, a little bit worse fuel economy. The Dr. Pulley sliders tend to do a pretty good job at that, though. They don't raise the RPM a lot. during acceleration. They hold the ratio a little differently, but it's not as extreme as like that NCY variator. And I think the real deal with the NCY is that rear spring is probably a little too stiff, so it holds the ratio too low too long. Red light. Is this my street? This is my street. Why not? Trying to take all my back roads that I remember. The Dr. Pulley sliders, if you look at a cross section of them, they're rounded on the bottom, and then they've got a trapezoidal face, you know, kind of on the sliding part that pushes against the movable face. And they give you a higher overall ratio on the top end, but they don't really change much of the acceleration. You tune your acceleration based on your slider weights. So it's the top end that gets the benefit with those. It pushes the ramp further, so the belt rides up higher and you get higher top speeds. So I did that on my white one, the PCX 150 2015, and the factory rev limiter on the PCX for that year anyway caps you right around 63 miles an hour. You just bounce off the rev limiter all day long, just 63. It doesn't have any problem getting up to it, you just can't get past it because the RPM is too high. So when I put the Dr. Pulley sliders in that one, it bumped the speed up to like 67, 68. Same everything else, you know, $30 set of sliders, and I got 6 miles an hour out of the deal, so it's pretty good. 5 miles an hour, whatever. But that little bit is significant enough that it made riding it on the highway out here on I-10 a little bit more feasible. You know, 5 miles an hour is 5 miles an hour. It doesn't mean it's comfortable at that speed because you're, you know, full tilt. There's no more headroom to accelerate and get away from traffic or squirt yourself out of a dangerous situation. You're at what you're at. What invariably happens too is you'll be running along at almost max speed, you know, you might have a little bit left to go, and somebody will park right next to you and they won't get off of you. They'll just stay right on your flank, or they'll stay right next to you, and you want to speed up and get away from them and you can't. So what do? The next logical thing, you slow down a little bit, and then what happens? They slow down. Ah, damn it, dude, get away from me. You try to speed up again. You can't. It takes a long time to get that 5 miles an hour back. And invariably they're going to speed up again right next to you. Dickhead. Riding right next to someone on a motorcycle is the dumbest thing you can do. In a car, it's bad enough. Never ever do it on a motorcycle. They are going to change lanes over you. It's just a matter of time. Oh man, I am gonna go. I was gonna say I couldn't have made it. I can make it. He's not going fast. Neither am I. But this is a 35 zone, so I knew I was all right. And for any of you safety warriors out there bitching at me right now, you didn't use your signal, you didn't come to a full stop. Yeah. Bite me. This is Houston. You come to a full stop, you risk getting run over from behind. Nobody stops in Houston, man. Those are just rough suggestions. Hey, don't you do it. Nobody stops in Houston. Even the cops and the buses and the everything, nobody stops. They roll stops 5-10 miles an hour, and that's being nice. That's going slow. I've got so many clips of video where I'm coming up to an intersection and somebody just blows a right turn on red at 35 miles an hour right in front of me. That's why I try to stay out of the right lane coming up to intersections. Great recipe for getting whacked. That's why I came the back roads, because this sucks. I guarantee they're backed up almost to the highway. Oh, I didn't see the turn. Could have gone. Another thing I always do when I'm sitting still like this, I'm watching my mirrors like a hawk. Houstonians and their cell phones don't pay attention. I have a lot of questions on my ride vlogs, my commute vlogs. People are asking me, well, why don't you filter? Why don't you go through when it got stuck in traffic or whatever? And I wish we could filter here, but I don't know that that's ever going to take off. Because if you're not from the South, or from the United States in general, particularly the South, you don't know how aggressive and territorial the cagers are here, man. They are absolutely vicious, evil when it comes to trying to ram into you, wreck you, kill you. They're just bastards, man. They think that if they've got to wait in traffic, everybody else has got to wait in traffic with them. Doesn't matter if you're smaller and you can get through safely, they don't like it. And they will try to ram you into the walls, they'll try to ram you into other traffic, just flat run over you, honking at you, road raging, tailgating you. I've had people throw stuff at me, pull guns on me, you name it. It's crazy. So if we ever do get lane filtering, lane splitting on the books, it's going to take a massive advertising campaign and re-education campaign for all these retarded cagers to understand it's not that we're cutting in line, it's that we're getting the hell out of the way because of other geniuses like you. Stopping in traffic as a bike, if you're in the back of the line, is a very dangerous situation because we don't have crush zones and airbags like cars do. So, like right here, I could filter easily up through this, no problem, and nobody has to wait for me. So, filtering, you're getting more cars, more vehicles, more people, more wet bodies of meat through that light while it's still green. So, it's a win-win for everybody. Quit your bitching. Saying that I've got to wait behind somebody that's stopped like this is akin to saying somebody on this sidewalk over here can't walk by because the rest of the cars are stopped. Hey, don't you do it, you asshole. It's like saying a bicyclist can't go by because the cars are stopped. It doesn't make any sense. That's right, right back there. That's why I'm always covering my brake. People don't look. He did stop, so kudos to him, but could have been interesting because I had a truck right up my ass. Never been down on the street. 39 years on the roads and counting. Well, no, 38 years. And easily 2 million miles on two wheels. Never been down. Oopsie. Keep on going. Never been down on the street. Been down on the track more than I can count. But that's the purpose, right? Push the limits. Find the limits. Learn how to flirt with the limits. That way you don't have to do it on the street, right? Right. Out on the street, right, guys? Right? Doink. Ugh. Suspension on this thing's pretty damn good for a budget bike. I've been impressed with it. It takes big bumps really well. Ripples, it's a little bit oscillaty, jouncy, but not bad. It's budget. I cannot complain. Well, I can complain, but who would care, right? All of my spots are taken. Hell, let's just do this. Cheat. This is in business now. I've never been here for Latin something kitchen. Yeah, okay. I've never been here for their food since they opened. I used to like using their little spot right here because I could cheat. But I'm still going to cheat. Try not to scrape up my bike. Ooh, can he fit? Can he fit? Oh, yes, he can. Yep. I'm a dick. I'm a scooter. I get away with it, right? This is out of business, so I don't care. I have zero remorse. And I know the owner of this place personally, so I get away with it. I get away with it. My spot. Gimme. Me. Mine. Parallel parking. A NAVI. Alright, welcome to breakfast, guys. I'm going to shut this down if I'm still live. I don't know if any of this was live. I was probably talking to myself and jerking off for the last 40 minutes. I will catch you all later. I will end the stream now and end it in the YouTube studio. That way the live replay can happen if anybody's interested in my blatherings and musings. Yeah, anyway, I'm going to go eat breakfast. I'm hungry. Catch you all later.